Please join me in welcoming Mr. Dave Bagley.
¿Cómo están todos hoy? ¿Bien? ¿Sí? Tal vez por la cantidad de personas que hablan español, debería hacer el discurso en español. ¿Sí? I want to be able to thank you guys for being able to get here. I've had an absolute ball spending Wednesday, Thursday with you guys, absolutely inspirational. I mean, for me, this is an absolute treat. I love being able to be here with you guys, and I can see the camaraderie that you guys are joining amongst yourselves, and I agree with Joe. And you put us together, and this is going to be unstoppable, guys. This is the beginning of something special, so thank you. We want to be able to start things off by being able to say that, as what was announced earlier, is that we've congregated from all different corners of the earth for one common cause. And to me, that's absolutely inspirational. But I also want to be able to say that your being here means more than what you may currently realize at this moment. And in a little bit, I'll tell you why it means so much. But first, I want to be able to start off with a little story, if you don't mind. The story begins in the year 1909. There was a man that was born, his name was Dutch Miller. He was born in a small town in Wyoming. And it wasn't long after he was born that he encountered his first tragedy in life, his first challenge. His challenge, actually, would be a little bit very difficult for me to swallow, actually, and that was the fact that his main caregiver, his mother, died when he was 6 years of age. Imagine going through that at 6, very formidable year. And what added insult to injury was the fact that Dutch's dad, what he ended up doing was he assembled all of his 6 kids together, and he decided that he wasn't fit to be a dad. So he dispersed each of his 6 kids to different relatives around the country to be raised by them. That abandonment that you would feel at the age of 6. He sent Dutch to be raised by Dutch's aunt in a small coal mining town. Again, not much chances for success in a small coal mining town in those years. And Dutch at that time, being raised by his aunt, was hopeful to be able to get things going. And to his surprise and to his hope, perhaps his dreams coming true, his dad shows up to reclaim the role of father. Takes Dutch. However, it only lasted for about a week. His dad decided that, in fact, he was right the first time. He's not fit to be a dad. So he abandons Dutch the second time, takes him back to his aunt's house. Can you imagine the remorse that you would feel? This started to entrench into the soul of Dutch this hatred towards his dad. Started to shape his character, his thoughts, his feelings towards his dad. And unfortunately, this system of continual abandonment by his dad, getting the kids' hopes and aspirations up and then dashing them in the moment, happened several times over as Dutch grew up in this small coal mining town. In fact, he said that the hatred that he had for his dad was so severe that later on in life, when he received word that his dad had passed away, he made the effort to show up to the funeral. Why? Because he just wanted to see the shovelfuls of dirt hit the casket. He wanted to make sure that that chapter of his life was over and that man would not walk the face of this earth again. Okay? So he grew up with little self-confidence, a lot of hatred, remorse towards his genealogy. Okay? And he tried to do the best that he could. Hard work ethic. He started working the coal mines when he was at the age of 13 because of little options that he had to make things happen. Okay, but luckily for Dutch, he ended up marrying, had children of his own. The difficult challenge for Dutch is that, can you imagine never receiving self-confidence or love as a kid? How would you ever give something to somebody else you had never received yourself? He didn't know how to be able to break that cycle, but he tried hard. From what I heard, he really tried hard. However, he had this cycle of both poor health, poor economics, poor self-esteem, and he did his best to be able to get out of it. You know, he was working at the coal mines. As you can see a picture here, a picture of him in the coal mines. He would have to work from coal mine to coal mine town, hopping from small town to another, often displacing his kids in 3 different schools in a single year. So now you can imagine it went from Dutch's dad to Dutch, now to his children that are living this cycle of challenges, of poor health, poverty, low self-esteem. These are cycles that are difficult to break, guys, okay? In fact, finances were so tough for him and his family that they often had to, back then they had flour sacks, big flour sacks that had printed patterns on them. And when they received them, they would often have to cut them, sew them, and repurpose them for little skirts for his girls. That was the environment that they grew up in. At 69, Dutch Miller, a worn, tired, heavy-set man, passed away at working on a labor-intensive job in pursuit of his next paycheck. That's how he lived his years. Now, how could his children ever break the cycle of poverty and compromised health? How could they ever hope to transcend such bleak circumstances? Folks, I want you to notice something, though. As sad as what those circumstances were, I want us to be able to be realistic for a moment. Because today, the world's facing very similar challenges that ran in Dutch's family. Okay, it doesn't require a special gift of observation in order to be able to realize the similarities that are going on today with both health and economic issues, problems, challenges, and the ones that we're facing today and the ones that he faced as well. Okay? Our conditions right now are at best fragile and at worst grave. And like Dutch, we're too confronted by a number of increasing health and economic concerns. All too often, it seems that at the macro level, there just isn't enough good or adequate options for us to be able to plug into. However, we should take pride in the fact of knowing that in history, men and women have risen to the challenge to overcome the difficulties. History's taught us that when confronted by problems, guess what? We find solutions. Our expectations of health, if our expectations of health are imperiled, okay, we deal with it. If our standard of living is endangered by economic dysfunction, guess what we do with? We deal with that too. Okay? We transcend. Each of us here today has an opportunity to do something important, to respond to serious challenges and to respond in serious ways. To respond to challenges that we can neither deny nor avoid. And in so doing, guys, I promise you that we will transcend the conditions as they exist currently. Now, while economists offer answers that seem to only stimulate debate, and we have a plethora of politicians that rush headlong into those debates, often with their own agendas in mind, we must take this time as a call to action to empower ourselves to rise from the static to the dynamic, to transcend. Understand that to transcend, we must go above and beyond. We must go above and beyond what is expected and what we classify as normal. We must do this because we can't expect some magical formula, some government program, or some alien intervention to drop from outer space and solve our problems for us. Because guess what? They're our problems. But then again, when we respond to our problems, guess what? We also find our solutions, our opportunities. When we harness imagination and we enlist our resolve, our commitment, we'll overcome conditions to become the difference makers, the solutionists, and even the transcenders. And in order to transcend, we must recognize, guys, that normal is no longer acceptable. Okay? You know, I have to think about, my kids love it when my wife and I take them to the local pool to go swimming. They absolutely love it. And guess what the kids do? They just rush headlong into the pool. They just jump in, cannonball, go for it. They're saying, Dad, come into the pool. Now, I'm always hesitant to go into the pool. Why do you think I'm hesitant to go into the pool? It's cold, okay? I'm comfortable, okay? Don't get me out of the sun. I'm good. So I jump in. I want to be a participating dad in my kid's life. And after the initial shock, what happens after you're in the water for a little bit? Okay, you become a little bit acclimated to the water. Pretty soon I find out that I don't want to get out of the water because now the water's comfortable and it's cold outside, okay? But I've accepted that new temperature as my new normal. Now, this example of sensory adaptation exists in many areas of many different areas of our lives, okay? And similarly, we have also by the way we conduct our lives, we've slowly become acclimated to the world around us. And as a result, folks, we've lowered our expectations and our standards. They've been lowered. Today, we're accepting things that 20 years ago we would have never accepted. If we could have had glasses of foresight and say, I'm going to be doing that, absolutely not. We've come to expect that an ever-increasing waistline is normal because we see it around us. We've come to expect that immense amounts of credit card debt is normal because we hear of other people having them. We've come to expect that fast food meals all the time is normal and acceptable. We've come to expect that government programs will bail us out if we need it to. We've come to expect that our employers will always take care of us or provide that security for us. Folks, we've even come to expect that in the United States alone, it's okay to spend $174 billion in the treatment of diabetes. To me, that's not okay. Okay, we've come to expect that latchkey children waiting for mom or dad to come home is okay. Guess what? It's not. We've come to expect that broken homes are normal just because we see it happening all around us. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not okay. All of this has happened right in front of our eyes because as individuals, we have either consciously or unconsciously lowered our expectations. Folks, it's time that the world wakes up. And we need to take control. We need to take control and refuse to remain desensitized to the very things that are causing the current health and economic crisis and problems throughout the world. We must transcend in order to live a life full of success and significance. We must initiate a change. And to be really making that change, we will transcend the diminished state of our physical and financial health. Physical and economic health are not just desirable, I believe that they're necessary. And as a company at Max, we've been motivated and even inspired to create a system whereby we can offer a solution to countless peoples around the world to transcend the current and diminished expectations that exist today. A movement which supports individuals who have awakened and who are prepared to regain control of their lives. And folks, our movement is fueled by purpose. And the Max purpose is to empower people to experience better health, success, and significance. Our mission is one of deploying our unique health discoveries to millions of people around the world to reclaim the possibilities of the human body. And woven into this mission is an entrepreneurial model that emboldens and empowers a global community of like-minded people to transcend economically. I love thinking about the fact that in 5 short years, guys, think about it, in 5 short years, Max has already paid out tens of millions of dollars to people just like you who are here today. Why? Because they're the people that have committed themselves to improving their own financial and physical states of life and helping other people improve theirs. In a sense, our model is the perfect example of the law of accelerating returns. Think about that, accelerating returns. It's truly fulfilling to know that our products and our compensation are providing millions with the foundation for individuals and families to take better control of their future. It's stunning to see that your actions are providing hope and solutions to countless other individuals and families around the world who are looking for those better health and financial options. The Max vision is succeeding because we see the living examples of it. However, in order to be able to go out there as a group, as a collective group, and really empower millions of people to transcend, we must first recognize that for some time now, there's been a fracture in our quest for contentment and fulfillment. And even worse, for millions, there's been a crisis in the pursuit of even the basic needs of life. When this occurs, people begin to feel that they are in a weakened position to be able to seek and realize contentment and fulfillment. They end up lowering their expectations once again, and in so doing, they become very accepting of the things which I believe should not be acceptable. When crisis occurs, people look around, and they ask, who's going to do something? Anything. Is anybody going to do something for us to bail us out of this state? But folks, I'm telling you that people that ask those questions are passive, and being passive is not a solution, because we know that counting on others is not a solution. It doesn't take long to look around and realize that. We may want others to bail us out, but folks, this isn't a real expectation. Problems generally don't solve themselves. In fact, in order for things to get better, guess what? We must get better. We must transcend. An economy racked by financial disruption, perpetual mismanagement, in which so many people have been hung with upside-down mortgages and even fewer opportunities for employment. Folks, this seems to be a passive economy that lacks initiative. You know what I'm proud to stand in front of you to do today? Is to declare the fact that at Max, we are active. At Max, we do not lack initiative. And at Max, we're committed to making and empowering others, millions of other people with a difference in order to be able to provide those solutions in their lives. In a world polluted with chemical byproducts that are produced by the process of bringing good things to life, we end up living in an environment that's polluting our air, polluting our water, and even polluting our own bodies. But guess what, to boot on top of that? We do a pretty dang good job of polluting our own bodies, okay? We've got an ever-increasing waistline. We leave our bodies, that end up leaving our bodies in a compromised state. And you know what, to me, what really angers me, okay, I'm sorry for being passionate about this, but I see it all around, is that it's robbing people of quality time, active lifestyles with those people who matter most to us. And that's our family and our friends. I don't want to see future generations' memories of being active with their loved ones robbed because we were lazy and inactive. Folks, the world is looking for you. They are looking for you as an example of what to be and how to live. Because all around us, all we see are examples of what quite candidly suggests an inactive lifestyle all the way around us in both health, relationships, finances, spirituality, you name it, the world has become lazy. And in order to overcome the financial and the physical problems of today, we must have the initiative. And we must have commitment. And most of all, we must have vision. And I will tell you that at Max, we are active, we have the commitment, and not only do we have a vision, we have a bold vision. It's been said that there's nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come, and I'm here to tell you that now is the time and Max is the place. The world's in need of both health and financial solutions, and we have the convergence of both. With our unique health products and our unique services, we can and will empower millions around the world to become better, to transcend. Alex Monterosa, you and Claudia had to make a decision between paying your electric bill or partnering up with Max. You chose to partner with Max. Now you've got 8,000 jobs that you've created by virtue of your partnership. You guys are transcenders. Chris and Tammy Zingras, you guys were struggling on basic needs to take care of those who matter most to you. Now you've inspired thousands around the world to be able to experience better health, success, and significance. You're transcenders. Folks, look around the room. Look who you're surrounded with. We've got Julio, we've got the Camachos, we've got the Dailies, we've got the Boguses, and we've got a room full of people who have committed themselves to be active transcenders. This is a powerful team. What's interesting? Absolutely. We've got examples all around us. And Dutch Miller, folks, although not an immediate transcender himself, what's interesting to note is that he did have a daughter who was able to harness the power to transcend and break the cycle of poverty and poor health. And not only did Dutch's daughter find the resolve to transcend, perhaps more importantly, is she found mentors that were able to work with her in making this transcendence a reality. Folks, when they believed in her, when her mentors believed in her, they did so at a time that they shouldn't have. She was a single parent of 6 kids. She didn't even have a high school education. She did not have anything going for her, but they believed in her. Okay? And you know what? Who were these people that empowered her to transcend? They were people just like you from this industry. Okay? It started with somebody simply sharing the power of a product. But to her, she caught a vision. And nobody could tell her different. They tried, but nobody could tell her different and steal that commitment of her transcendence. Okay? And although the people told her that she couldn't, she didn't believe them. And as you can imagine, starting a business as a single parent for any of us would be a difficult challenge. And although that she had kids that were at the age of being able to supervise themselves at home, she did have to end up hauling her youngest around from opportunity meeting to conventions just like this one here today. She had plenty of excuses to give up. She had plenty of excuses to listen to the naysayers, okay? Especially when things were tough, but she never gave in to the excuses. The excuses did not matter. It was due to her commitment. And in this industry, the partnership, the mentorship, that she was able to transcend. She was able to earn more in a month than many people did in a year, okay? The gratifying part was that in her success, she was also able to make that success a reality for other people around her. But perhaps the most significant part of the story was the example that she taught to her children and to inspire them to be able to transcend. It was because of her efforts that there is now a new expectation. There is now a new standard for her and her family and future generations ahead of us. Think about the power of that, all because of somebody like you shared a vision. Okay? The old expectations of poor health and poverty in her family line have been replaced with good health, success, and significance. I guess in a condensed version, this sounds a little bit like an overnight success story, but folks, I assure you that it wasn't. You may ask, how do I know? I know because Dutch was my grandfather. His daughter, who harnessed the power to transcend, was my mom. And that was a photo that was taken at one of the conventions we were at. In the course of transcending, we had times of abundance, but we also had times where we needed food assistance. But in the end, we did transcend. I'm grateful for having grown up in this industry. I've learned that it doesn't matter what color your skin is, how tall you are, how short you are. It doesn't matter your gender, and it doesn't matter anything that somebody may see from the outside. However, what does matter is commitment. And I've learned the value of hard work. I've learned what it's like, and I know what it's like to dream of a better tomorrow. And I also know what it's like to step into the dark. I know what it feels like to be emboldened by a vision, and I know what it's like to be in your shoes, which is why I'm proud to partner with you. And together as transcenders, we will empower the world with the vision of Max. I told you that your being here means more than what you may realize. And I believe that it's true. I believe that your being here means that you've enlisted yourselves as active transcenders. The question now at this point is, how deep is your resolve? Are you willing to do what transcenders do? Are you willing to stand up at this time and be the solution that others are looking for? Folks, I'm urging you and I'm asking you to take pride in the fact that you belong to a global community of like-minded people who are committed to making the difference and empowering millions around the world to transcend and to be themselves active transcenders. At Max, we're making a difference in the health and economies of people all around the world today, and we've only just begun. I believe that in Max, we will make our vision a reality. We will be the difference makers for people everywhere. And I believe that the world is becoming a better place because of us collectively. We are the movement. We'll combine our strengths, we will minimize our weaknesses, and together we will amplify our possibilities. And together we will transcend. And in closing, I'd like to say just a few short things, and that is that at Max, we are the movement. We are the difference makers, and we are the transcenders. Thank you.